It's incredible how far aircraft technology has advanced in the last century. This is part 4 of the Air and Space Museum. Improvements in aircraft require improvements in their targets. Here is the Northrop Grumman Chukar. It was originally designed in the 1960s as a jet-propelled aerial target for anti-aircraft and missile training. In 1991, they were launched in Operation Desert Storm as decoys, significantly reducing losses for coalition aircraft. The Ryan Firebee-2 is another aerial target used by the U.S. Navy. Its supersonic speed of Mach 1.5 simulates high-speed aircraft. The Unmanned Fire Scout has been deployed in Afghanistan to aid against IEDs. The U.S. Navy has also tested the onboard APKWS, a laser-guided missile system. When people think of military drones, they usually envision the Predator. It can fly up to 40 hours using its turboprop and can take live video, infrared, or radar imagery. This model is an RQ-1K. Next to the front leg is the line-of-sight antenna. The Predator can be equipped with up to 4 laser-guided missiles. Any information gathered is instantly accessible via satellite for military targeting, tactical, or logistical purposes. This long refueling probe on the starboard side allows the Douglas A-4B Skyhawk to fuel in the air, carrying a heavier weapons payload upon takeoff. It can also carry a 330-gallon tank to refuel others. Just don't get too close. Beware of blast, as the engine says. This Skyhawk represents Vietnam Attack Squadron 212, the Rampant Raiders, with remembrance to Commander Frank C. Green Jr. on the side. In 1972, Green crashed during a night raid and was declared missing in action. The U.S. Navy recovered his remains almost 4 decades later. He was laid to rest at the Miramar National Cemetery here in San Diego. Near the Skyhawk is an A-7 Corsair II cockpit, giving an idea of the complexity of controls. Later revisions offered an auto-landing function. 1946 marked the beginning of the U.S. Navy's Flight Demonstration Squadron. With World War II over, it was intended to reignite public interest. The Blue Angels insignia with their signature diamond formation is on the side of this FA-18 Hornet. Over the years, they have flown in many planes including the Hellcat, Bearcat, Panther, Cougar, Tiger, Phantom, Skyhawk, Hornet, and Super Hornet. They are comprised of 6 planes. Number 1 through 4 are the main diamond formation, while soloists 5 and 6 also complete the Delta formation. The Air and Space Museum offers one of the only opportunities to see a Blue Angel this close up. So close, in fact, you must take a step back to see the entire aircraft. Walking to the center pavilion of flight, you're greeted by the intimidating presence of the consolidated PBY-5A Catalina. This flying boat is the largest aircraft inside the museum. The wingtips house retractable pontoons for landing on water, while the fuselage has retractable gear for takeoff and landing on hard earth. The Catalina was used throughout World War II. On each side of the body are these blister windows for machine gun mounting or for excellent visibility for reconnaissance. From the front, you clearly see its bow shape to cut through the water, as well as the twin machine guns on the nose positioned below and in front of the pilot's windshield. Its unique amphibious versatility granted the Catalina many roles, such as patrol scout, anti-submarine, night bomber, rescue, logistics, and firefighting. Next to the enormous Catalina is the tiny Beechcraft Weeby. A group of Convair engineers right here in San Diego set out in 1948 to create the world's smallest plane. The one and only prototype was built and flight tested. It made headlines even before it got off the ground. To cut down drag, the Weeby had its pilot laying prone atop the fuselage. The test pilot also lost weight to help the Weeby take off on its 13 test flights. The original prototype was displayed at the Air and Space Museum until it was lost in an arson fire in 1978. On one wall of the pavilion are 3 Reno Air racers: Shoestring, a Formula One plane; Sun Dancer, a biplane which won and was banned in the next year for its structural advantages; and Miss B. Haven, one of the fastest back in 2006. The window to the sky shows one engine in the center, a second on the right, and a third on the left side. The Ford Trimotor was created in the 1920s as a cargo, military, and passenger transport. There is an easy entry door for passengers and also a storage compartment for luggage underneath the wings. Commercial flying expanded. Coast-to-coast flights began. A Trimotor was the first to fly over the South Pole. There's even a bathroom with waste expelled through a hole in the bottom. Look out below! If you examine the engines closely, you can see circular status gauges just under the wing. The pilot would look out the side windows and read them from the cockpit. Of the 199 Trimotors produced, this one is number 11 with the model 5AT. The Soviet MiG-17 flew in the Vietnam War with unmatched agility and, for a while, the tightest turning circle of any aircraft. With its subsonic speed, slow fire rate, and low ammo count, the MiG-17 was initially designed to hunt bombers. If pressured, it could hold its own in a dogfight, relying heavily on its maneuverability. It was armed with the largest guns of any plane. The larger 37mm on our left could possibly take down a bomber with one shot. Notice the 3 vertical wing fences on the MiG's sickle wings. They caused more drag but allowed the MiG to keep its turning radius very tight. The US Navy and Air Force established air combat training programs such as Top Gun and Red Flag to gain the upper hand on the MiG-17s. The training paid off, and US pilots were ready to fight the MiGs, sometimes in aircraft like the one giving chase right now, the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II. Unlike the MiG, when the F-4 first entered service in late 1960, it did not have an internal gun or cannon. The intent was to maximize the advantage of hardpoints to carry heat-seeking and radar-guided missiles. It can carry 16,000 pounds and has 9 external hardpoints for weapons including air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles, rockets, as well as conventional or nuclear bombs. Combat in the Vietnam War showed that an internal gun would be needed. Later models were equipped with an M61 Vulcan rotary cannon. You see, the cockpit is a tandem, with a seat for the pilot and one for the weapons system officer or radar intercept officer. The Phantom was popular and may still be flying today. The first purpose-built attack helicopter, the Bell AH-1 Cobra, had special rotor blades that were electrically controlled to compensate for wind gusts and recoil from weapons firing. This created a stable airframe for armament configuration. This Cobra is set up for ground support with a total of 8 TOW anti-tank missiles, rocket pods carrying 19 on each side, and a 3-barrel 20mm Vulcan rotary cannon. The Cobra's recognizable chopping sound announces its arrival from above. With the tandem seating, the gunner sits in front of the pilot. The gunner's helmet is linked to the Vulcan cannon, turning its turret to match where the gunner looks. It was used in the Vietnam War to support troops and escort transport helicopters. It also teamed up with the OH-6 Scout helicopter that would seek out targets and draw fire, while the Cobra counterattacked. The Cobra served over 3 decades and was retired after the turn of the century. From the Starlight Bowl outside, you can see 2 more aircraft in front of the museum. One, built in the 1950s, is the Convair Sea Dart. The Sea Dart was a supersonic seaplane designed to take off and land on sheltered water harbors, lending itself toward the mobile base concept developed by the US Navy. The most unusual and distinguishing features are the dual retractable hydroskis set into the base of the fuselage. As the plane accelerates on water to take off, the skis extend in stages. Once aloft, they retract into the body. The Sea Dart was the only seaplane to fly supersonic. Sadly, after only a handful of years, the Navy abandoned the project. Only 5 Sea Darts were manufactured. This one is the 3rd and final one that actually took off and flew above San Diego Bay. You can see where the Sea Darts flew by watching the San Diego Review of Harbor and Shelter Islands. Please search for and view it after this one. On the other side of the museum is a dark shadow that blocks out the sunlight. It has a similar shape to an SR-71, but what is it? This A-12 has the appropriately misleading codename of Oxcart. It was predecessor to the Blackbird and flown by the CIA as opposed to the Air Force. This high-velocity reconnaissance aircraft could achieve speeds in excess of Mach 3. The dark blue paint allowed it to dissipate kinetic heat 2.5 times faster than the unpainted titanium surface. See that bird circling overhead? An eagle can spot a rabbit from 3 miles away. The much larger precursor to the Blackbird could survey a 30-mile swath from coast to coast in 1 hour's time. In the late 1960s, the A-12 Oxcart flew a number of reconnaissance missions over Southeast Asia in Vietnam and North Korea. This one is the 10th of 15 built. Although both have long been retired from service, the A-12 Oxcart and the SR-71 Blackbird still remain the fastest aircraft to this day. One last thing. The Air and Space Museum also has a virtual reality air combat setup and a couple full motion flight simulators. Please support this channel. Thanks for watching San Diego Review.